Question 1. Which of the following is a fundamental principle of firearm safety? A. Keeping firearms loaded at all times for quick access. B. Pointing firearms in unsafe directions while handling. C. Treating every firearm as if it is loaded. D. Storing firearms and ammunition together in the same location. Correct answer: C. Treating every firearm as if it is loaded. Explanation: treating every firearm as if it is loaded is a fundamental principle of firearm safety. This mindset helps prevent accidental discharges and ensures that individuals handle firearms with caution and respect at all times, reducing the risk of injury or harm. Question 2. In a crisis situation involving an individual experiencing a mental health crisis, what is the most appropriate action for a law enforcement officer? A. Using force to restrain the individual immediately. B. Ignoring the individual's emotional distress. C. Engaging in active listening and empathy. D. Avoiding direct communication with the individual. Correct answer: C. Engaging in active listening and empathy. Explanation: in a crisis situation involving an individual experiencing a mental health crisis, the most appropriate action for a law enforcement officer is to engage in active listening and empathy. By demonstrating empathy and understanding, officers can establish rapport, de-escalate tensions, and work towards a peaceful resolution without resorting to the use of force. Question 3. Which of the following is an example of a local ordinance that may vary between different jurisdictions within Arizona? A. Statewide traffic regulations. B. Arizona revised statutes. C. City noise ordinances. D. Arizona State Constitution. Correct answer: C. City noise ordinances. Explanation: city noise ordinances are examples of local regulations that may vary between different jurisdictions within Arizona. These ordinances are enacted by municipal governments to address noise pollution and disturbances specific to their communities, reflecting the diversity of local needs and concerns. Question 4. Under what circumstances may a law enforcement officer in Arizona use deadly force? A. To intimidate individuals into compliance. B. To punish individuals for non-compliance. C. To protect themselves or others from imminent threat of death or serious bodily harm. D. To escalate confrontations unnecessarily. Correct answer: C. To protect themselves or others from imminent threat of death or serious bodily harm. Explanation: in Arizona, law enforcement officers may use deadly force only to protect themselves or others from an imminent threat of death or serious bodily harm. This is in accordance with legal standards and departmental policies that emphasize the necessity of using lethal force as a last resort option in life-threatening situations. Question 5. What is a primary responsibility of law enforcement officers during emergency response operations in Arizona? A. Providing medical treatment to injured individuals. B. Assessing property damage. C. Coordinating with other emergency services. D. Restoring utilities and infrastructure. Correct answer: C. Coordinating with other emergency services. Explanation: a primary responsibility of law enforcement officers during emergency response operations in Arizona is to coordinate with other emergency services, such as fire departments and emergency medical services, to ensure a unified and effective response to crises. This collaboration enhances overall emergency management and enhances public safety outcomes. Question 6. Mr. Garcia, a law enforcement officer, is dispatched to a domestic disturbance call involving a married couple. Upon arrival, he observes a heated argument between the couple, with one spouse displaying aggressive behavior towards the other. There are no visible signs of physical violence at the moment, but the situation appears volatile. What should Officer Garcia prioritize in this scenario? A. Using force to separate the couple immediately. B. Ignoring the situation and waiting for backup. C. Assessing the level of risk and ensuring the safety of all individuals involved. D. Leaving the scene and letting the couple resolve the conflict on their own. Correct answer. C. Assessing the level of risk and ensuring the safety of all individuals involved. Explanation. In this scenario, Officer Garcia should prioritize assessing the level of risk and ensuring the safety of all individuals involved. This involves evaluating the potential for escalation, de-escalating tensions, and intervening appropriately to prevent harm. Using force should be a last resort option, and officers must prioritize conflict resolution and maintaining public safety. Question 7. Why is integrity essential for law enforcement officers in Arizona? A. To engage in unethical and dishonest conduct. B. To prioritize personal interests over public service. C. To uphold trust and confidence in the justice system. D. To evade accountability for actions taken in the field. Correct answer. C. To uphold trust and confidence in the justice system. Explanation. Integrity is essential for law enforcement officers in Arizona to uphold trust, confidence, and legitimacy in the justice system and the community. It involves adhering to ethical standards, demonstrating honesty, and maintaining professionalism in all aspects of policing to ensure fairness, accountability, and public respect. Question 8. What is a key objective of community-oriented policing? A. Isolating law enforcement from community involvement. B. Prioritizing authoritarian control over community engagement. C. Fostering collaboration and partnership between police and communities. D. Ignoring community concerns and feedback. Correct answer. C. Fostering collaboration and partnership between police and communities. Explanation. A key objective of community-oriented policing is to foster collaboration and partnership between police and communities. This approach emphasizes proactive engagement, problem-solving, and building trust-based relationships to address crime, enhance public safety, and improve quality of life in neighborhoods. Question 9. What constitutional right protects individuals from unreasonable searches and seizures by law enforcement? A. The First Amendment. B. The Second Amendment. C. The Fourth Amendment. D. The Fifth Amendment. Correct answer. C. The Fourth Amendment. Explanation. The Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution protects individuals from unreasonable searches and seizures by law enforcement. It requires that searches and seizures be conducted with probable cause and upon issuance of a warrant, except in certain exigent circumstances or with valid exceptions recognized by the courts. Question 10. How might Arizona's geography impact law enforcement operations? A. By limiting access to remote areas. B. By reducing the occurrence of natural disasters. C. By increasing visibility in urban environments. D. By minimizing environmental hazards. Correct answer. A. By limiting access to remote areas. Explanation. Arizona's diverse geography, including its rugged terrain and vast desert landscapes, may impact law enforcement operations by limiting access to remote areas where criminal activity or emergencies may occur. Officers must navigate challenging environments and logistical constraints while ensuring effective response and public safety in all regions of the state. Question 11. What is the primary purpose of conducting a traffic stop as a law enforcement officer in Arizona? A. Generating revenue for the department. B. Issuing citations for minor infractions. C. Ensuring compliance with traffic laws and promoting public safety. D. Intimidating drivers to prevent future violations. Correct answer. C. Ensuring compliance with traffic laws and promoting public safety. Explanation. The primary purpose of conducting a traffic stop as a law enforcement officer in Arizona is to ensure compliance with traffic laws and promote public safety. Officers conduct stops to address violations, educate drivers about safe driving practices, and prevent potential accidents or hazards on the roadways. Question 12. What is the plain view doctrine regarding searches and seizures? A. It allows officers to search any property without a warrant. B. It permits officers to seize evidence visible to them during lawful observations. C. It prohibits officers from using evidence discovered inadvertently. D. It restricts officers from seizing evidence without probable cause. Correct answer. B. It permits officers to seize evidence visible to them during lawful observations. Explanation. The plain view doctrine allows law enforcement officers to seize evidence that is in plain view during lawful observations. This means that if an officer has a legal right to be in a particular location and sees incriminating evidence in plain sight, they may seize it without obtaining a separate warrant. Question 13. Which of the following offenses is typically prosecuted under Arizona state law rather than federal law? A. Counterfeiting currency. B. Treason against the United States. C. Interstate drug trafficking. D. Immigration violations. Correct answer. A. Counterfeiting currency. Explanation. Counterfeiting currency is typically prosecuted under Arizona state law rather than federal law. While certain offenses, such as interstate drug trafficking or immigration violations, may fall under federal jurisdiction due to their interstate or international nature, counterfeiting currency primarily involves violations of state laws related to forgery and fraud. Question 14. What is the escalation continuum in law enforcement? A. A hierarchy of force options that officers may use, starting with the most severe. B. A process of escalating violence to gain compliance from individuals. C. A tactic used to intimidate suspects into submission. D. A method of avoiding confrontation altogether. Correct answer. A. A hierarchy of force options that officers may use, starting with the most severe. Explanation. The escalation continuum in law enforcement refers to a hierarchy of force options that officers may use, starting with the least amount of force necessary to gain compliance and escalating to more severe measures only if justified by the circumstances. This approach emphasizes the importance of using force judiciously and proportionally. Question 15. What is the role of crisis intervention teams, CIT, in law enforcement? A. To escalate confrontations with individuals in crisis. B. To provide medical treatment to individuals experiencing mental health crises. C. To respond to calls involving individuals in mental health crisis with specialized training and techniques. D. To avoid involvement in crisis situations altogether. Correct answer. C. To respond to calls involving individuals in mental health crisis with specialized training and techniques. Explanation. Crisis intervention teams, CIT, in law enforcement are specialized units trained to respond to calls involving individuals experiencing mental health crises. Their role is to de-escalate situations, provide support, and connect individuals with appropriate resources and treatment options rather than resorting to punitive measures. Question 16. Why is accurate report writing important for law enforcement officers in Arizona? A. To embellish incidents and exaggerate details for dramatic effect. B. To satisfy administrative requirements with minimal effort. C. To create a factual record of incidents for legal and administrative purposes. D. To conceal information and manipulate evidence. Correct answer. C. To create a factual record of incidents for legal and administrative purposes. Explanation. Accurate report writing is important for law enforcement officers in Arizona to create a factual record of incidents for legal and administrative purposes. Reports serve as official documentation of events, investigations, and interactions, providing crucial information for court proceedings, administrative reviews, and accountability purposes. Question 17. What is the primary goal of community-oriented policing in Arizona? A. Enforcing laws and regulations through aggressive tactics. B. Isolating law enforcement from community involvement. C. Building partnerships and trust between police and communities. D. Ignoring community concerns and feedback. Correct answer: C. Building partnerships and trust between police and communities. Explanation: the primary goal of community-oriented policing in Arizona is to build partnerships and trust between police and communities. This approach emphasizes collaboration, problem-solving, and proactive engagement to address crime, enhance public safety, and improve the quality of life in neighborhoods. Question 18. Why is accountability important for law enforcement officers in Arizona? A. To evade responsibility for actions taken in the field. B. To prioritize personal interests over public service. C. To maintain public trust and confidence in the justice system. D. To engage in unethical conduct without consequences. Correct answer: C. To maintain public trust and confidence in the justice system. Explanation: accountability is important for law enforcement officers in Arizona to maintain public trust and confidence in the justice system. It involves accepting responsibility for one's actions, adhering to ethical standards, and demonstrating transparency and integrity in policing to ensure fairness, justice, and accountability to the communities served. Question 19. How might Arizona's climate impact law enforcement operations? A. By decreasing the need for specialized equipment. B. By reducing the risk of heat-related illnesses for officers. C. By increasing the occurrence of extreme weather events. D. By minimizing environmental hazards in urban areas. Correct answer: C. By increasing the occurrence of extreme weather events. Explanation: Arizona's climate may impact law enforcement operations by increasing the occurrence of extreme weather events such as heat waves, wildfires, and flash floods. These events can pose significant challenges for officers in terms of safety, resource allocation, and emergency response, requiring agencies to adapt their strategies and preparedness measures accordingly. Question 20. Why is physical fitness important for law enforcement officers in Arizona? A. To meet arbitrary standards set by departmental policies. B. To prioritize appearance over job performance. C. To perform essential job functions safely and effectively. D. To discourage community engagement and interaction. Correct answer: C. To perform essential job functions safely and effectively. Explanation: physical fitness is important for law enforcement officers in Arizona to perform essential job functions safely and effectively. It enables officers to respond to emergencies, engage in physical tasks, and protect themselves and others in dynamic and challenging situations encountered in the field. Additionally, maintaining physical fitness contributes to overall health and wellness, enhancing longevity and job performance. Question 21. What is the Incident Command System, ICS, and why is it important for law enforcement agencies in Arizona? A. It is a protocol for avoiding emergencies altogether. B. It is a hierarchical system for managing emergency response operations. C. It is a tactic used to escalate conflicts during emergencies. D. It is a strategy for delegating responsibility to community members during crises. Correct answer: B. It is a hierarchical system for managing emergency response operations. Explanation: the Incident Command System, ICS, is a hierarchical system for managing emergency response operations. It provides a standardized approach to command, control, and coordination during incidents, ensuring efficient and effective resource allocation, communication, and decision-making. In Arizona, ICS is crucial for facilitating coordinated responses to emergencies involving multiple agencies and jurisdictions. Question 22. Under what circumstances can deadly force be justified for law enforcement officers in Arizona? A. To subdue any individual perceived as a threat. B. To punish individuals for noncompliance with orders. C. To protect themselves or others from imminent harm or death. D. To intimidate individuals into submission. Correct answer. C. To protect themselves or others from imminent harm or death. Explanation. Deadly force can be justified for law enforcement officers in Arizona to protect themselves or others from imminent harm or death. However, its use must be proportionate to the threat faced, and officers are expected to consider alternatives and de-escalation tactics whenever feasible to minimize the risk of lethal outcomes. Question 23. How do body-worn cameras benefit law enforcement agencies in Arizona? A. By providing officers with entertainment during downtime. B. By allowing officers to invade individuals' privacy without consequences. C. By capturing objective evidence of interactions and incidents. D. By obstructing officers' ability to perform their duties effectively. Correct answer. C. By capturing objective evidence of interactions and incidents. Explanation. Body-worn cameras benefit law enforcement agencies in Arizona by capturing objective evidence of interactions and incidents. They can provide valuable documentation of encounters, enhance transparency and accountability, aid in investigations, and protect officers and civilians by providing an accurate record of events. Question 24. What is the exclusionary rule in the context of criminal procedure? A. It allows law enforcement officers to exclude evidence obtained illegally from court proceedings. B. It permits judges to exclude relevant evidence for no reason. C. It mandates that all evidence must be admitted in court regardless of how it was obtained. D. It requires that evidence obtained through illegal means be excluded from court proceedings. Correct answer. D. It requires that evidence obtained through illegal means be excluded from court proceedings. Explanation. The exclusionary rule mandates that evidence obtained through illegal means, such as a violation of the Fourth Amendment's prohibition against unreasonable searches and seizures, be excluded from court proceedings. This rule serves to deter law enforcement misconduct, protect individuals' constitutional rights, and maintain the integrity of the criminal justice system. Question 25. What is an example of a local ordinance that law enforcement officers in Arizona might enforce? A. Federal tax regulations. B. State vehicle registration requirements. C. City noise ordinances. D. State building codes. Correct answer. C. City noise ordinances. Explanation. City noise ordinances are an example of local regulations that law enforcement officers in Arizona might enforce. These ordinances establish limits on noise levels within city limits, including restrictions on construction noise, loud music, and other disturbances, to maintain peace and quality of life for residents. Question 26. Why is proficiency in defensive tactics essential for law enforcement officers in Arizona? A. To demonstrate dominance and control over civilians. B. To inflict harm on individuals perceived as threats. C. To protect themselves and others from physical harm. D. To evade physical confrontations altogether. Correct answer. C. To protect themselves and others from physical harm. Explanation. Proficiency in defensive tactics is essential for law enforcement officers in Arizona to protect themselves and others from physical harm. These tactics include techniques for safely controlling and restraining individuals, defending against attacks, and resolving physical confrontations with minimal force necessary to ensure safety and maintain control of situations. Question 27. What role do local law enforcement agencies play in immigration enforcement in Arizona? A. They are responsible for apprehending and deporting undocumented immigrants. B. They are prohibited from cooperating with federal immigration authorities. C. They may collaborate with federal agencies on immigration enforcement within their jurisdictions. D. They have sole authority over immigration matters within the state. Correct answer. C. They may collaborate with federal agencies on immigration enforcement within their jurisdictions. Explanation. Local law enforcement agencies in Arizona may collaborate with federal agencies on immigration enforcement within their jurisdictions. While immigration enforcement is primarily the responsibility of federal authorities, local agencies may assist or cooperate with federal agencies in accordance with state and local policies, laws, and agreements. Question 28. What is the purpose of establishing community advisory boards in law enforcement agencies? A. To exert control over community members and limit their involvement in policing. B. To shield law enforcement agencies from community oversight and scrutiny. C. To facilitate collaboration, communication, and feedback between police and community members. D. To reinforce existing biases and stereotypes within law enforcement agencies. Correct answer. C. To facilitate collaboration, communication, and feedback between police and community members. Explanation. The purpose of establishing community advisory boards in law enforcement agencies is to facilitate collaboration, communication, and feedback between police and community members. These boards serve as forums for dialogue, problem-solving, and partnership building, allowing community members to provide input on policing priorities, strategies, and initiatives. Question 29. What is the importance of maintaining objectivity in law enforcement reports and documentation? A. To manipulate evidence and influence legal proceedings. B. To conceal information from the public and other agencies. C. To provide an accurate and impartial record of incidents for legal and administrative purposes. D. To promote transparency and accountability within law enforcement agencies. Correct answer. C. To provide an accurate and impartial record of incidents for legal and administrative purposes. Explanation. Maintaining objectivity in law enforcement reports and documentation is important to provide an accurate and impartial record of incidents for legal and administrative purposes. Objectivity ensures that reports are credible, reliable, and free from bias, promoting fairness, transparency, and accountability within law enforcement agencies. Question 30. What is the significance of upholding ethical standards in law enforcement? A. To justify unethical behavior for personal gain. B. To prioritize personal interests over public service. C. To maintain public trust and confidence in law enforcement. D. To exploit vulnerable individuals for personal advantage. Correct answer. C. To maintain public trust and confidence in law enforcement. Explanation. Upholding ethical standards in law enforcement is significant to maintain public trust and confidence in the integrity and legitimacy of policing. Ethical conduct promotes accountability, fairness, and justice, enhances community relationships, and fosters public cooperation and support for law enforcement efforts.